Have you heard of this phrase before? Africans. Have you heard it before?
Yes, I have. And to a very large extent, it's associated with mediocrity, with success being inspired by Europe, and not feeding our own people, not being self-sufficient, and poverty. And that is what we are trying to get away from.
And as a farmer yourself, what do you think is the way forward?
I think we need to come together and have servant leadership and be able to listen to each other. And if people can just hope to do something positive for their country, if people stop being selfish and want to control large chunks beyond what they can consume or creating reasonable wealth for your family, you tend to have those who want to have everything in Africa and those who have nothing. We just need to have business people, political leaders.
Where's the name coming from?
It's actually named after my wife.
Wow.
She is the managing director of the farm actually. And when we decided to leave the rat race from working, I had to convince her to come and stay on the farm, to leave the bright lights of Harare. And her name means wonders in Shona, or a special wonder. So therefore, I wanted it to be a wonderful place for her to live, to raise the kids, and to also help to feed the nation.
Wow. I mean, you're actually living in a wonder world. I mean, this place looks like a Garden of Eden. You said you named your farm as your wife's name, right? Shamiso. What is the inspiration behind that? What really inspired that?
From a cultural perspective, a good home is always kept by the wife. And I believe that women, especially when you are going through the tough times of the beginning, if you involve them, they are more steadfast, they are more thrift and everything. And true to that, she has been a backdrop of the operations on the ground, of the finer details on the ground, because at the beginning, when you are setting up the business, you understand you have to be on the run, sourcing the funding, the building, but somebody has to maintain the com. And she did that effectively.
The fact that you said during the toughest time, he was there with you, I'll be so happy to know. Oh, what was the toughest time that you went through that your wife still remained behind you?
Yeah, like I said, we've been married now for close to 29 years. And yeah, in the beginning, I come from humble beginnings, so does she. Maybe she comes from a slightly better background than me. But at the end of the day, we didn't start with any resources. It was our incomes from work, and once I stopped working, a year later she stopped working, so she was willing to get her hands dirty, and up to today she used to wake up wear her dust coat and do the numbers and so on. And unfortunately or fortunately, I'm lucky that she's good with numbers. And she does the counting because in business, if you can not deduce it to dollar terms, if you cannot count the cents, you are doomed to failure. Somebody has to make sure that what needs to be done has to be done every day, continuously, because to be successful you have to do those difficult things of repeating and improving the same things over and over again. And as an entrepreneur and as an imaginative person, I tend to look at the big picture. I tend to want to do too many things, and she's been the one who has been saying, no, let's stick to the game.
Yeah, I agree with the phrase, to be a successful man, you need a woman behind.
Yes, that's definitely correct. I believe that 100%.
Shamiso.
Yeah, hi.
Wow. Knowing that you've been named after this farm, how does that make you feel?
I'm honored.
Wow.
I'm happy about it, and sometimes I feel it's a bit too much for me, but I'm okay. It's all right.
He said during the struggles you stood behind him, and that is why I want to ask, why would you do that? I mean, you could have just left and enjoy your business or enjoy your time or your life, but decided to stand by him. Why would you do that?
I didn't decide to stand by him as per se. We were working together. That's what I can say. So standing by someone is when they go into trouble, you say, now I will stand with you. But when you're doing your things together, you stand by each other's side. That's what I can say.
Throughout this journey, what was
throughout the journey.
What was the major challenges that both of you faced?
When we left work, employment, it was tough because we are the first generations to have what we are doing right now. It was a bit tough for us and challenging. When I look back, that's when I say it was tough. At that time, it was a challenge that we were enjoying. Everybody else was laughing at us. You want to go into farming, make around, when was that? Early 2000s. People say, you want to do farming? People in Zimbabwe, not like, they didn't consider farming as a business. But we had the vision that we could do something with farming and living employment where you were, paid well. It was not the decision that everybody was looking at that moment. We were very young at that moment. And to think of something like that, you could go into farming and leave your formal employment. It was something that people would laugh you at.
You took a huge risk.
Yes.
How would you do that?
I think we had the zeal and the passion. And when we were doing our figures and numbers, we really wanted to create wealth for our families. We didn't want to just have an income at the end of the month. We wanted to have something that we knew we could leave for the next generations to come. Yes.
What were you doing? Like, what kind of job were you doing?
I was an administrator.
Hey, and on the farm too, you are an administrator?
Yeah, managing the farm.
So do you do a bit of calculations every day?
Yes, I do. Trying to keep everything running smoothly. I'm more on the operations and the management.
Would you say that the decision that you took years ago was really worth it?
I'm very happy about the decision that I made. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Back then, by now I could be owning a house, maybe in Wode. But now I own properties. And I wouldn't have owning what I own right now and the amount of information and experience that I've gained. I'm miles apart from my colleagues that I worked with. Some of the colleagues that didn't move from their jobs.
My name is Wode, the one and only annoying village boy from Ghana who is on a journey to change the negative narrative of Africa and also celebrate African excellence. I came to Zimbabwe and so many people are saying, I need to speak to you. You see, like, I don't even know your real name. All I know is Shamiso. Can you tell me who you are and where you come from?
My name is Samson Chauruka. Come from actually chieftainship in the eastern highlands of Zimbabwe. I'm 51 years old. I'm a social entrepreneur. I support smallholder farmers, the commercialization of the smallholder sector. I've been actively involved at national level in advancing the interests of the smallholder sector, in making them have access to the competitive genetics and breeding. Yes, we do a mentorship program. We are involved at the various sectors in order to make it a commercial industry for the small to medium size. Of course, that's where you get the large scale employment and value transfer to the marginalized communities.
So the whole land is how many hectares?
It started off as 54. We now remain with 30 hectares. We've subdivided and allowed other smallholder farmers to come and leverage off our expertise. But yeah, we remain with 30 hectares of land.
What kind of farming are you doing in here?
Yeah, it's a combination of a lot of things, different concepts, but primarily our main farming is pigs. There is cannabis, medicinal cannabis. There is chickens. There is the agrotourism part of it as well. We do a bit of cattle. We're trying to put a different number of animals. We've just removed the goats and sheep we had, but we are coming up with a new batch of goats and sheep.
Can I say you're a millionaire?
Wow.
I don't know. I
For
don't know.
itself. Yes, I would say so.
And are we heading to billion anytime soon?
No, I think maybe 2-3 generations. It's not a race. We hope that our children and our children's children will add more value to this enterprise. And I think real value grows over time. And for me, I believe that you create value, then the money follows. And therefore, generational value, the knowledge, the experience through one generation to another will create the lasting wealth forever.
You believe in generational wealth?
Yes, as you become aware, we have got 4 boys, actually 5 with one who adopted from my late brother. The 2 older boys, one 27, one 25, are already embedded within the operations. They went to school, came back to Africa, and got involved in the business. And you can actually see that they are bringing more dimensions to the business, more modern aspects to the business. Yes, we are already in our 2nd generation. You've been 20 years here on the farm, so it's a generation already. And I think we are also speaking to the next generation, even the 3rd generation, because I'm expecting the boys to start getting married soon. Yeah.
You're building a generational wealth through farming.
True.
How is that possible?
Yes, farming is like any other business. It's a value chain of activities, and as you go around the farm, you actually see that we are now transiting from the basic growing of the or the farming of the animals to value addition, the slaughter, the abattoirs, the wholesale shop which is coming up, and so on. And hopefully in the next year or so, we'll be doing processing into value-added products like polonies, bacon, hams, and so on. So yes, we are looking at going into the agro industry rather than just farming as traditionally we said.
So I want to know, you ever left Zimbabwe?
Actually, my family, a lot of it has left Zimbabwe, and I took a bet that I'll only leave Zimbabwe in order to visit and enjoy Europe, because I'll make the value first in Zimbabwe. You know that the crisis in Zimbabwe over the land reform which came to Zimbabwe, which was done in Zimbabwe, there are a lot of skilled people, and I happened to be one of, and with my siblings, including even my twin brother, decided to go to Europe and into America. And of course the temptation was there, but once I decided that I was going to create the necessary change for us Africans to see ourselves in a different way in order to take control of our own destiny, I came down, left Harare, left Bright Lights, came to the farm, buckled down, started building from the bottom. I had to buy, unfortunately, I didn't get land under land reform like most people did. I had to buy this land and started building basically from scratch most of the infrastructure on this farm.
Wow.
At the same time sending kids to school and so on. Yeah, it was a tough journey, but if you dream and want to live your dream, the sky is the limit.
So since you never left Zimbabwe, which means you are made in Africa product.
Yes, I am. And you know, if you go back into the real understanding, you understand that Africa has got more resources than any other nation, be any other continent, be it minerals, be it holiday resorts, be it in agriculture. 60% of the agricultural land in the world still available is in Africa. In particular on Southern Africa, it's a natural 80% of what can grow anywhere in the world will grow best in Southern Africa. And in Zimbabwe in particular, if you go 1,000 years, we always have been the breadbasket of Africa and into Asia and so on and things like that. And even if you go back 30 years back, the best of products eaten in Europe, be it beef, be it vegetables in Amsterdam, flowers and so on, Zimbabwe always played a pivotal role. They actually had specified quotas of the premium grade products coming from there. So once you start understanding your own value, and unfortunately, as most Africans, we suffer from the case of the resource-rich nations, where we don't actually understand and appreciate those values around us, and we tend to run for the morsels of the inferior product. So for me, with the wholesale land reform program coming in Zimbabwe, even if I missed out on getting land, because I'd been in industry which was agro-related and so on, it was a natural to understand that that void left had to be filled by none other than us Africans, none other than us Zimbabweans. We had to learn to feed our people and to also have the surplus to be fed.
So will you say that it's possible to make it in Africa?
I 100% agree. As you can see, the second generation here went to some of the best schools here in Zimbabwe, went into Europe, into America, and on finishing their studies, they were clear. Had more value here in Africa.
And I want to say that thank you so much for being an African, not an African.
Yes, I'm a true African, and like you said, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and you can see what we are trying to do here.
Since you became a millionaire from the continent, I want to ask, when did you make your first million?
I quit my job as an executive in industry at 31. Knuckled down, I started trading in cattle, I started doing large-scale chicken production. Yeah, by the time I was 34, 35, I had made my first million, including buying this land and a lot of other small little pieces of properties and so on.
Just trading with cattle can make you a millionaire?
Yes. I was buying between 50, 100 cattle almost every week at one time. putting through my retail outlets and also wholesaling to other butchery outlets. Yeah?
That means like the funds that were raised from the corporate world, that's when you used it to start your cattle business?
No. To be honest, I didn't even get my pension because when the bug hit me that I had to leave, I didn't have time to wait for the 6 months, which was then at the time requirement for an executive to leave. So they actually took back my money. So I never even actually got my pension.
Wow.
I had to trade off the small little cars I had and so on, and to start from scratch. We started very basic. We opened tuck shops. We were selling fish from the back of the car. Then the story just started building and building, and yeah, we then bought our land, we then bought these things. I didn't have any retirement package at all.
Trust me, this is the best story since I ever came to Zimbabwe. So do me a favor, like the video, share so that so many people can have a piece of this. So I want to know, is the pig farm your first ever business?
No, it's not. I've tried other things. I've been in manufacturing. I've always known that at the end of the day, people need to eat. And with Africa, we know that there is generally a rural to urban migration. 72% of Africans are below 35, and most of them are being attracted by the bright lights. That's leaving a gap for production. They need to eat. They need to be provided for. And why would we then wait for products coming from Africa, from Europe, or from America to feed our own people? So people have to just take one step backwards and understand that as we modernize, as we urbanize, there is need for more intensive farming. There's more need for more serious commercial farming, not subsistence farming. And I saw a big yawning gap, not even for exports into Europe, but to feed my fellow Africans in a variety of ways. So yes, the opportunities continue to grow as the African population continues to grow.
How many pigs do you have right now?
Yeah, around 2,500. We are having around 60 deliveries a month. So every day the number is changing. It's continuously
Is it a profitable business?
Yes, it is. I think any business, if you do the fundamentals right, there's always a market, people are buying. Yes, any business has got challenges. As you mitigate them, I think especially the agro industry.
So wanted to know, running a commercial farm like this here in Zimbabwe, what are the major challenges that you face in here?
Okay, I will speak for livestock producers, where we depend mostly, our major input is maize. Currently in Zimbabwe, we have problems in finding maize, and that's our major challenge. Yeah, that's what I can say is the major challenge that we face. And we have big companies that are also into pig production.
Okay.
And we are sort of tagging behind them, you know. They set the pace for us. Sometimes we find ourselves in a situation where they can cut the prices, where it's not as profitable for you to sell as someone who's upcoming. And you find a lot of farmers who end up selling their pigs or their stocks because it's no longer profitable. I said it's profitable, but at that moment, when the big guys want you out,
they reduce the price.
They reduce the price.
So that everybody will be going there.
Yeah.
Wow. There's no way you all can work together? Okay, this is the price that we are all going for.
Yeah, that's what we want. That's where we want to go to. where we are also able to talk with the big guys or to have a regulation actually that stipulates, the kind of environment that should exist for upcoming farmers within an economy.
Okay. Your house is just close to the pig farm.
Yes, which is a very important thing for us. You can't smell the pigs because obviously you have to work with hygiene, you have to work with, like us here, we've put in biodigesters, green technology, also using the energy and so on to supplement, especially on the new structure, we'll go through the new development on the pigs. But yes, we live on the farm, and most people, when they come that side, they forget that we are actually on the farm.
Is this how you started?
Yes, this is how we started. We built this in 2006. When we bought the farm in 2006, we built this in 2006. We used the bricks primarily from the farm. We actually took end tools, got some guys, made the bricks and built from scratch. Right now, we've just been doing a few rentals as we build the new structures. This has primarily become a farrowing house. It sits on 2,000 square meters. The building is 1,600. It was initially built as a 100-sow unit, but right now we've got a farrowing unit which is 65, 70 pens in there. We are having about 60 deliveries plus or minus every month. Because of the heavy cold, we are actually supplementing. This new section has just been built recently, and the challenge is with power. We actually have to do additional heating with firewood during the heavy winter like this one. But you can see,
wow,
the piglets.
You can actually not smell anything in here. I don't even feel like I'm in a pig farm.
In a pig house, yeah. Hygiene is very important for us.
Is this not hay?
Yes, this is the hay we use on the farrowing unit. You saw where the piglets were, to keep them warm, to keep them comfortable. So we keep the hay here, we cover it with tents if the weather is bad. This is the extension I was telling you about. We are building the new houses you see we are going into. We're putting about 11 of them. This is one of the new farrowing houses.
Oh my goodness! This is so huge.
This is one of the new sow units. Yes. So you were not expecting?
No, I wasn't expecting this. I was so scared.
Yeah, turn around. See the. I want you to see.
How old?
This is about 3.5 years old.
2.5 years.
Where Panache, my second son, is mostly involved. This is the AI station where we take the semen, where he then takes them to our lab and sort out.
Why do you deal with semen, bro?
Insemination. You know about that?
You do the artificial insemination?
Yes, artificially.
So they are all males?
These are females.
These are females?
Yes, the males are by themselves in one. The females will be in there. So in the morning they'll come and they'll be, and this is where it all happens.
Oh.
And then there are people who come and they collect the semen, and then from each bowl we can produce semen for about eight females every day.
Every day?
Yeah. So
I would love to see how it's done, man.
This is the abattoir where we will be slaughtering the pigs. We're putting up a deheader, and that's how the abattoir will be looking.
So you have to buy the machines too for this place?
Yes.
This is cost effective.
It is one, we are not having to carry our animals from the farm. There's no need to go looking for permits for vet doctors and so on. So it just lowers the cost of doing things. And you're doing it in one place, you're just moving them from the thing.
But with over 2,500 pigs, how do you feed them?
Yes, we make the feed, 90% of the feed we are making here. We already had a smaller feed plant which is already operational, but we are now upgrading and put a proper feed plant, complete process, and be able to say the excess feed we also able to give to the smallholder farmers at a discounted price, as opposed for them to go to commercial producers to buy their own feed. So we just following the value chain to make sure that the cost of doing business is managed and put under control.
You said you're going to turn this place into agrotourism. What are you doing then?
We are 27 kilometers from central Harare.
Okay.
And agriculture is now a central part of the education system from Zimbabwe, from the lower primary school to secondary school. So we need to have places where they can come and see the practical side of things, a variety of things together, and still at the same time for them to enjoy the time in the farm and so on. So on the back of that, we have a small dam on the farm. We're putting tourist aspect swimming pools, we're putting a restaurant, we're putting a few things, five-a-side soccer and so on for kids to play. So we are actually tapping in the government thrust to develop agrotourism centers. Like we said, we already teach farmers, we already bring in their stockmen and so on for training. We do mentorship program. So we believe that there is a lot of other untapped value which we can add to our business. So certainly we're developing this place as an agrotourism facility. You can see the way we are taming the different aspect of it.
No, you are even growing fruits in your backyard.
Yes, we want to be able to enjoy all the different type of fruits. You can see there's so many different.
Do you grow crops in here too?
No. Our operation is too big for the size of our farm to be focused on cropping. We also support the other farmers who actually grow the raw materials for us. Generally, what we are trying to in future is to get farmers who don't have the resources to grow on our behalf and support them with tilling and the seeds and the fertilizers. Then we buy the crop from them and take out the costs we have supported.
Can I tell you something? You're a visionary.
Thank you. We hope as Africans we should be able to build our own countries.
And I love the fact that you are changing the narrative of your own country, helping build Zimbabwe. I just want to know, what do you think is the problem of Africa?
I think over-politicization of the critical sectors of the economy, not allowing leadership to devolve to other areas to know that not everything is political. Of course, colonial hangovers and meddling and so on is still happening in a big way. For example, us as farmers, because the politics is not moving with what the West wants, you find that as businesses we are hamstrung, we are operating on a cash economy, we can't borrow, it's very expensive to borrow, we can't access a lot of things, we can't buy directly to certain countries because we are under sanctions. So yes, there's a lot of things we are.
Is the sanctions affecting your business?
Yes, it does, because you cannot transfer money to buy equipment in countries where you are not allowed to trade. So there's a lot of restrictions in the banking system to which you have to navigate. And because there is no good money supply, and because there's expensive money supply, and operating a business this size on a cash basis is really cumbersome, is really difficult.
And as a farmer yourself, what do you think is the way forward?
I think we need to come together and have servant leadership and be able to listen to each other. And if people can just hope to do something positive for their country, if people stop being selfish and want to control large chunks beyond what they can consume or creating reasonable wealth for your family, you tend to have those who want to have everything in Africa and those who have nothing. We just need to have business people, political leaders, church leaders who don't want to amass everything to themselves, who are wanting to share the cake with others, who are the concept of growing together, the concept of knowing that if you are privileged to be at the top, you need to have other people surrounding you to make even your business stronger and share the cake with others, and to make sure that you create employment, the money, the value is shared among the community. I think we will all prosper.
If you had a chance to change one thing in Zimbabwe, what will it be?
The politics, like I said, it's really affecting us. We need to look at ourselves in a different perspective. The polarization is just wrong. We are the same people. We shouldn't be fighting. We should be all striving to build a prosperous Zimbabwe. It's endowed with so many natural resources, the people themselves, the ordinary people themselves, the minerals, the good agriculture, so the education legacy which has been left, and so on. There is so many good things about Zimbabwe. If only we could appreciate what God has given us, we would be more humbled and want to build it to the next level.
So many Africans watching us, what will be your final message to them?
Africa is the next big thing. Let's all help build it for ourselves and for the next generations to come. Thank you.
What is the secret behind your success if a young African entrepreneur is watching?
Knowing that you don't know everything, sharing information with others, willing to make your hands dirty and to work, gain experience, start small, and the ability to start. We have got so many educated people who write beautiful stories but never get to start them. Start in your current circumstances, wherever you are, within your own environment. There is something you can do which can change your own circumstances and the circumstance of those around you. The concept of thinking you build a Microsoft from nowhere, it's generations of effort, of different people building the cake until it's that big. So in Africa, we need to go back and start from the basic and have people who start to do something different, who start to build value for their own communities. Let's not be professors and engineers who have not done anything, even in their own village. Let's start there and change the lives of our own mothers, our own grandparents, our uncles, and in that vein, be building value to ourselves with people who appreciate us.
I want to say thank you so much for talking to me, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.